Mr. Dhingra, thank you for the kind invitation, and Ayushi for following up and being so helpful. This is a topic which is actually, I'm living this skill development in the development sector for last almost 8+ years. When I quit the Indian Army and came to the corporate world, so I came into the skill development sectors, and that is where I started my journey, and I have been living this life for almost 8+ years now. So what I would like to probably tell you all is expose you all into the India skilling journey and the landscape for entrepreneurship as is being done by the instant government. And it is a push which is very, very recent, in just about a decade plus, wherein this skill development has taken up in India in a big way, and which is the requirement. So I'll just take you through that. So this is my overview as to how I shall be taking you through the education landscape, to the skilling landscape, then to the vocationalization of education, and finally to the entrepreneurship. And it is a very apt group in that sense that, though you all are hands-on entrepreneurs, the MSME group which is there, and it was really nice to see the diverse kind of group activities, and especially the presentation of the forceful and a joyful presentation by Ms. Khan. It was very good to know that we have such a bright group of entrepreneurs here who are keen to join hands together, pull the rope on this from the same side, and help each other to grow more. So that entrepreneurship is the last topic which I would cover before closing it. So as we all are aware, this instant government, the present government of the day, Mr. Modi has been giving and opening up the system to quite an extent, the startup ecosystem, and connecting the towns and villages, and making the startup in a big way, and leading our youngsters to not be job seekers but job givers and job creators. So in that sense, we have a huge demographic dividend which really needs to be ready for the future challenges which are going to be there. So just one slide only on the education system and the surveys, which is not any brainer for any of us here. But then just it is very interesting to understand what has been the reason for the school dropouts, especially from the age group of 6 to 17. And if you see on these three blobs, in these three squares, what I have tried to bring out is the challenges which have led our young boys and girls to drop out from the education system and from a purposeful life on very, very petty issues, not interested in studies, cost is too much, the required household work, we have to work for payment in cash, required the work for the family or the family farm, or getting married. And because of the pathetic level of education, especially in the rural sector where the schools are in the villages, students have to travel to many kilometers. All our parents would have told you those kind of stories, especially my parents, because we came from the land of Uttarakhand, previously Uttar Pradesh, from Garhwal, where my father used to actually travel almost 10 miles, almost 16 kilometers one way to go to the school. And that is what was the travesty for the olden times for the Indian families. Then even for many reasons, why do they drop out? Because of financial constraints, or not interested in studies, or they only do it till the class 10th, or parents are also not interested in the studies. So very pathetic state, and that is what is led to a very poor work force ratio, especially amongst the girls in our country and in our system. So what happened in November 2014, this India government came up with the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship for the first time in the country. Since 1947, it just took 67 years for them to actually realize as to what should we do and how do we go about doing it. So now we have, under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, A regulator which has come in recently in 2019, which is called a National Council for Vocational Education and Training. And this was amalgamation of, this is actually a real amalgamation and mixing up and bringing together of the vocational education into skilling. So there are three pillars. If we say education, vocational education and skilling, and that is what is the progress also. So under the Ministry of Skill Development, we have the Director General of Training, and then there is a National Skills Development Corporation, which is a PPP model, public-private partnership, under which we come. We are 37 Sector Skill Council. The yellow box is where I belong. I'm heading the Council for Management and Private Security. And then there is a private support sector wherein, private sector which is there as far as the training partner, the assessment agencies. And in the light yellow box is the National Skills Development Fund, which is the fund for created by the Government of India, where the skilling fund is kept parked, which is utilized by NSDC, the private body, to curate the sector skill councils, to support the private sector in initiating the skill development. So this is at the larger level what is there existing in the country. So Ministry of Skill Development was the first serious push by this government, which has really led the way to the skilling in a big way. Just to tell you here, we in India have a very skilled and certified population, just to about 6% of our working population. Compare this with South Korea, which has got 96%. Germany has got 90%. Japan, Australia, US, Canada, all have got upwards of 70%. Though we have the skills, we had Taj Mahal, we had Qutub Minar, we had so many landmarks which are there, and they are not there without any skills. The only point is that we don't have a formalized skilling system like the famous German dual skilling ecosystem. So that is exactly what the government wanted, to give the skills to the youth for our betterment, for their own betterment, and for the betterment of our country. So what was the major focus of the Skill India mission? It was to improve the employability skills amongst the youth, focus on the skill development, and collaborate with all other stakeholders like the vocational education trainers, and to transition them to success and while achieving the sustainable development goals of the United Nations. So let's see whom all actually need the skilling. So in this 5 blobs, what has been given here is that everybody and anybody, whether somebody is there in the education from age 3 to 35 and onwards, to somebody who's already in service and needs skilling, multi-skilling, reskilling and upskilling, especially with the advent of technology in the country and all around us. Then somebody who's not in education, employment or training. So let's say retired persons, homemakers, somebody who's wanting to upgrade or to join to the next category of employment. So those also people, those who need the skilling. Then somebody who's a dropout, who has left education at a young age. So students who have to get to the employment or maybe self-employment mode. Then the students who have even finished education or wanting to go for upskilling because of the new technologies and the new vocations and new opportunities which are coming their way. So this is exactly what this slide is actually talking about. Now let's have a look at the skilling ecosystem, and we all are part of it in one or the other way. Whether we are the employer, we are the citizens, we are the skill providers, that is the universities, colleges, the training centers, the trainers, teachers. Here we have all of us are mentors in one or the other way. We all are a guide or mentors to somebody or the other. Then this is a very specialized or a specific segment of assessors and assessment agencies, which are actually the examiners to the students and the skills what have been given. Then content providers, entrepreneurs, media and communication, financial institutions. Some of us are here. The CSR or the individual donors, government, and obviously Sector Skill Council, we like us, which is MEPSC. So we are also called as the awarding bodies. So this is exactly what is making the skilling ecosystem. To just sum up, we all are, as a society, we are all part of it, whether directly or indirectly, and that is what is the we are forming part of the stakeholder of this. This is a no-brainer. Why vocational education is required? Because these have to be industry oriented, and they focuses from academics to employability. This is the crux of entire skilling. This is the crux of all the vocational education which we have gone through. The only thing is, now the government of the day is very, very serious, and that is what many excellent opportunities are being provided for the higher education through degree embedded programs and diploma courses also. So there is a uniform credit framework which is coming up, which will equate all these diploma, degrees, and experiences on all three different axes, X, Y, and Z, and bring them on a common par. So even the National Education Policy 2020 has given a very big push in formalizing and equating and bringing about equivalence amongst the experience, the diploma or the degrees, or somebody who has just done a hands-on skilling program under our ecosystem. So this is actually is the need of the hour, because we have the highest working population in the age group of 15 to 59, and that is where lies our demographic dividend before it becomes something else on the negative side. And that is why it is playing a very critical role in the growth of our country, which is actually in last year only, if you see, we had the record number of unicorns in our country, and even for this year we are set for a record number of unicorns. But that is not the only aim or only parameter to judge the startup ecosystem's success, but it is a success story, as we call it, which will encourage and draw in more youth towards self-employment or entrepreneurship, because the wages, the wage jobs being very, very finite. So we really have to inculcate that sense of entrepreneurship, and that is why I am bringing it to the end of my presentation. So just to tell you as to what is the skill training and how it is being done is essentially why there is a need to do that. So essentially it is to bridge the skill gap as to what is required and what is existing as of now, and then also look on the employment opportunities and to foster the economic development. Also the career progression, which is the aspirations of every individual, whether in a job or in business. Like your leaderboard is that career progression. It is actually pushing and pulling each other in the entire ecosystem and in that team, and that is what is the crux of entrepreneurial development. We have to support each other, we have to mentor each other and bring ideas and get onto the business side in a much stronger way. In the entire skilling ecosystem, there are a few players, which is the ITIs. There are short-term training centers which are there, which are part of our unique public-private partnership institutions which are there. Then there is a new skill university which has started mushrooming, and they are generally coming up in by the private sector, also by the government, state governments. And like in Haryana, there is a Vishwakarma University, which is a government skill university. In Odisha, there is a Centurion University, which is a private university. In Pune, again, there is a Symbiosis Skill University. So there are different kinds of skill universities. Now, these universities have also started transitioning to the skilling, because they have realized that actually what we have to bring is hunar, हाथ का हुनर जो है, हमारे को जो सक्षमता जो चाहिए, that is what is required, and that is what is the focus of the higher education institutions. And the last and not the least is the apprenticeship, embedding of the apprenticeship in the entire employment sector, in the shop floors, in the industry. So that is actually the thing which was the German model, and now India is actually trying to copy it. And we have reformed the Apprenticeship Act of 1961 to quite an extent, and it is still a work which is in progress as we speak. So Organizations like mine, that is Management, Entrepreneurship and Professional Skills Council, which are the 37 sector skill councils under the Skill India Mission, under the Ministry of Skill Development. What is our role? Our main job is to identify the kind of job roles or the vocations or the job descriptions, as we call it, which are existing in each of our sector. Then we develop the national occupational standards. So let's say there is a plumber which comes to your house. As of now, you really don't know whether he's level 2, level 3, what kind of jobs can he do? Can he change only the your taps, or can he lay down a pipeline, or can he plug your leaks which are there, or maybe something more on that. When we go to a industry, in the boilers and in many kind of turbines, where they have to be used. So which level of expertise that person has, we really don't know. So somebody comes and says, I'm an electrician, I'm a carpenter, I'm a plumber, but we really don't know what kind of level of expertise and what kind of competency that person has. So this is what, when we say national occupational standard, so here we peg the person as per their output, their competency, their skill sets, and that is what we lay down. So we are equivalent to the certifying body like CBSC. So all sector skill councils, being awarding body, being the certification issuing body, we are equivalent to CBSC by Gazette notification. So that is our, so initially when I came in 2013-14, so I used to say that there is a chairperson of CBSC, and who issues certificate for class 10th and 12th. And here I was signing the certificates for skill persons, and those were the national recognized certificates. So that is the power which we have. And we prepare these national occupational standards, we prepare these courses, and we have these training partners and the assessors through which we train these students, and we get their message, and then we certify them. So essentially what we have to do is we have to have the labor market information system, that is the demand supply. So to meet the demand, we have to prepare the supply, and that is where we mobilize the youth which are there, and then we try and train them, skill them, and certify them, and then get them placed onto the respective industries and sectors. We are also supposed to be having academics of excellence, and now, like I said, this national education policy has also given us that we have to be involved for the apprenticeships and for the degree embedded programs, the apprenticeship embedded programs with higher education institutions, that is, UGC colleges and all. So there are bachelor of vocational and master of vocational programs, which are certificate, diploma or advanced diploma and degree program, which is a multiple entry and multiple exit scheme. So if somebody does a course for 6 months or lesser duration, the person gets a certificate. If it's a 1 year, he gets a diploma. If it's 2 years, it gets a advanced diploma. And if the person finishes 3 years till the last system, because the UGC has come up with 4 years undergrad degree also, so it is used to be so it's a multiple exit. Somebody wants to exit at whatever stage, gets out with a certificate or a diploma or an advanced diploma and a degree. And that is what the whole aim is, to boost the apprenticeship in the entire industry. So what are the challenges? So mobilization is the biggest challenge. The scale and the restricted capability is again a very big challenge. The employer buy-in. The employer doesn't want to pay the wage premium to a skilled person than an unskilled person, and that is where it is a bane for us actually. We really don't want to, as a community or as a nation. We don't want, as of now, we are not paying premium to the skills or to the competencies or the skill sets which are there in a person, because again, it's a huge demand supply gap. The supply is more, so you want to say that why should I pay more? But essentially, it is the productivity and efficiency of any sector which will govern that, and which is governing it, and people, all entrepreneurs like you all are seeing value in that, and then they are, though it is quite slow as of now, but then yes, it is a challenge as of now. Then scalability of the program, which Government of India is saying, and the skills mismatch. Let's say industry wants a particular skill set of in a person, but that skill set is not there, and that's why there is a mismatch. And The vocational training centers are only giving the technical skills, or as we call it, the domain skills, but there are many behavioral skills, the life skills, the employability skills. So all those are missing. And like we say that entrepreneurial mindset is very, very important, which really needs to be inculcated from a very young age. I'll tell you in one of my next slide that what we are doing for the K-12 segment, and we really have to catch them young if we have to prepare our country for future as a enterprising country, like a small country like Israel. So we really have to catch them young, inculcate that sense of entrepreneurial mindset from a young age, so that by the age when they come to the higher classes in school or even colleges, they are ready to start out on in their own, and then be a job giver, then a job seeker. So we spoke of demographic dividend, which is likely to continue for at least 3 more decades from now, from 2022 onwards. So this is a very huge prospect for all of us. We may be the skill center, skill capital of the world, as the Honorable Prime Minister says that. And this is where the opportunity lies, that we can be the human resource export nation for all other countries all around or around us, especially in Asia, where Japan, China, South Korea, Vietnam, we have a very aging population, even in Indonesia, South Korea. So what we really have to do is we really have to prepare our youth for tomorrow's jobs, which are going to be there, whether in India or outside India. So when we say that, what is exactly, skilling? So it is an acronym is RUN, wherein it is actually due to the advancement in technology, it's a reskill, upskill, or a new skill. Because, with cloud computing, with big data, with blockchain, with artificial intelligence, there'll be many jobs, almost it is expected that almost 85 million jobs by 2025 will be displaced, and 50% of the workforce would require reskilling. So this is the job prospects which are there for the future jobs. And that is why, because of 97 million jobs which will be emerging new, there is a need to be continuously upskilling ourselves in whichever industry or sector which we want to continue or acquire new skills. So this is actually the crux of what skilling is all about. Because of this huge technological advancement taking place all around the world, we really have to have a huge shift in our mindset and in our workforce, and we should be ready for the disruption. So what we have to do is, so if we know what are the kind of challenges, we really have to get this, vocational education, the schools, colleges aligned to the needs of the industry, and that is where this triangle gets, formed. And this is what is we really need to be ready and prepare, and we really have to converge all of us together: the vocational education, the formal education, and the labor market, and that is the employers. So when we talk about the future jobs or the future skills, what we have to do is we really have to do catch them young, give quality education, improve the teaching and the pedagogical processes, and have to have a very strong academic and media industry linkages, and prepare the youth with the required skill sets. So what are likely to be the most desirable? And these are some of them. These are not the all, but due to the changing and the complex nature of the working and the industry which is likely to be there, with the kind of stress which are likely to be there, with the kind of social media presence which is there in all our lives, it is a very complex situation to be in. And so we really have to even prepare our youth, our children, to have the emotional intelligence, to have the complex problem solving, to have the technology designing and the programming, to have an analytical thinking and the reasoning for to solve our problems, and also to have a persuasion and the negotiation skills also. So all this is actually, I've just tried to put a few of these skill sets which are likely to be there for very essential for our youths in the future. So if we have now seen the entire skill landscape, what do we have? So under the Skill India mission, We have the training capacity across all the states and the union territories, and we have these training partners in at least 7 in each of the districts. And we are executing Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, UDAN. Then there is a Ministry of Urban Development. There are many state skill missions which are there, state skill schemes which are there. So we 37 sector skill councils have got more than 450 representatives from the industry associations as our governing board members, and we are all private companies or societies which are supporting the employers to take the competency mapping requirement to the logical conclusion of providing jobs to our youth. So we have developed more than 2,500 qualification packs, the courses as we call them, and we have developed deep connections and engagements with for transnational and overseas labor migrants movements also, and to give them a feel good factor and also a pull factor. So we have a world skill which is an ongoing competition across the countries. So almost more than 90 countries compete almost every 2 years. And for last four occasions, that means in last 8 years, India has made very decent progress where we have won even the gold medal in these world skills, and there are a few skills and trades which are there. So at the international level, our young boys and girls have done wonders and won gold medals, silver medal, bronze medal, and even medallions of excellence. So this is again to create the youth icons for our country. Now, having moved and seen the skill development, let's move on to the landscape of entrepreneurship and what is all there. So I need not tell you all in a startup ecosystem, these are the 7 requirements which are there. The market access, we have to have a talented team, we have to have the access to finance and also to the market, and we have to have support system, the infrastructure, R&D, which is essentially the education in some way, and the ease of doing business at the policy level by the government. So this is a web, spider web diagram wherein it just compares United States, Israel, and India. So we are with the blue color. US is in black color, touching the topmost of all these 14 parameters, and Israel in the green one. So we see that we have a huge scope in terms of risk, acceptance of opportunity perception, even in internationalization of our job. But we are doing pretty decent in product innovation, in competition, also in process innovation. But we have a huge scope to grow, and that is where this organization or a setup like MSMEs and bank kind of groupings will actually propel us from this blue band coming onto the green and then to the black bands, covering the extremities in these 14 parameters which have been listed here. So if we know the challenges and our shortcomings, what we really have to do is we have to train and develop our young minds to build enterprises and get onto the entrepreneurship, and we have to support them through VC fundings or angel investor funding, and having the incubation centers, which is actually my next slides are covering that, what government is doing and what kind of incubation support system is coming up in the country. And we all must be aware in one way or the other way, and maybe part of it also. Then we need very strong government policies and guidelines which are coming up. But then, yes, they have to be slightly more nimble. The government of the day has to be slightly more nimble and responsive, very quick to converge. And this is actually happening. When the Prime Minister called the young investors and for the startup ecosystem, and he had a one-on-one interaction with them, and that is exactly it was seen reflected in the policies which came up a few days after that. We have to build innovative online businesses, and industry has to mentor and handhold our young entrepreneurs. And we really have, because of the nature of the country, we really have to focus on the rural entrepreneurship for scale and effect, because that is where most of our country lives today also. So MSMEs, this I really don't have to tell you all that, as of now, the MSME is contributing 29% of the GDP, and in next 5 years, government plans to increase it to 50%. So this is what I wanted to tell you all. before I move on to the incubation and what are the possible areas of early startup. So clean tech, clean transportation, EVs coming up in a big way now in the country. The education technology, edtech platforms have come up. Aggregators, OYOs like platforms, Swiggy and Ola and Uber, which are already here. IoT, Internet of the Things and artificial intelligence, gaming, emerging technology, social entrepreneurship, agri and organic farming, healthcare, as we have seen it in the recent pandemic, that it has been such a sterling journey for India that we really came up in a record time to produce such kind of vaccination in the country for the world actually. So those are the kind of startups which have come up in a very big way. And what Government of India is doing. Government of India is having so many initiatives like, Atal Innovation Mission of the Niti Aayog, the Startup India, the Stand Up India, the startup ecosystem by the state governments which are there in the state of Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra. So all these kind of which are there in the, even in the agriculture, ICAR has come up. BARC has come up for the Government of India's mission which is there. Then there is a Gita mission for the Global Innovation and Technology Alliance, wherein the government is aligning with many countries one-on-one, with Germany, with Australia, with Japan, for on a specific project. So the funding is done by both the countries, or even from from World Bank or the Asian Development Bank. The funding is coming up, and they are trying to give support and mentorship to the budding entrepreneurs. So what government has done is, they have launched many schemes. So Atmanirbhar Bharat is there. There was economic package which was given for 20 lakh crore. Then Vocal for Local is something which really gave a clarion call for our MSMEs, at the lower level. This is just to tell you the how do we leverage the technologies and invest in digital technologies and to adopt the technologies, especially post-COVID. When we talk about the virtual incubation, so what is there is, it is essentially the mentoring, funding, networking, and go-to-market, which is actually the key features of virtual incubation. And okay, why is it not moving? Yeah. So I need not tell you, what are the advantages of the virtual incubation centers. They give, they do the similar job as to the incubators which are there offline also, and they give entrepreneurs the best use of resources, and experts can reach out to the entrepreneurs across the world, and it is also help the scalability for the startup. So this is the link to the Startup India Hub, which is giving services like information discovery, curated learning platforms, engagement and networking opportunities, the tools and the applications to all the enablers. These are some of the private and the government in virtual incubation centers which are there. So it is there in IITs, IIMs, which is there in MIT is there, NASCOM is there. There is a incubation system by IIT Mumbai, MIT University is there. Then there is a technology for business incubation, which is there by Science and Technology also. Just a one-out slide on Atal Innovation Mission, which is by the Niti Aayog, which has got two components of innovation and entrepreneurship, and they are trying to create the problem solving for the innovative mindset and giving the ecosystem all the supports to overcome the challenges which are there, even creating world-class incubators and fostering the world-class startups, in the social or the commercial innovation. Just to give you a broad idea of Atal Tinkering Labs, which are there. On the last count, it was 8,700, but then I recently learned that it has crossed to almost 10,000 plus Atal innovations, Atal Tinkering Labs, which are there in 14,000 plus schools, which has got 70 lakh plus students which are engaged, and almost 1.8 lakh innovation projects have been created across 34 states with 5,000 mentors of change being part of it. So it's a huge program which Government of India has started, inculcated at the school level also. So this is what is required. We have to create the pipeline and the railroad for the future, and this is the young population which really has to be groomed for that. So where do we come in as sector skill councils? We have to be the skills and knowledge. We have to build the skills and knowledge amongst our entrepreneurs. We have to collaborate with the industry, build the capacity, and collaborate with the stakeholders by having multidisciplinary projects. Also, curating the Young Minds program to embrace the entrepreneurship through skilling projects, do the faculty development programs, and create organizations like Urban, the Oriflame, or the DSCs, the direct selling chains. So all those kind of businesses we really have to formalize through our skilling initiatives, and this is what the Sector Skill Council, including MEPSC, is doing as we talk of. So just to tell you a brief that in last year, September to November, MEPSC, that is my council, we did a youth ideathon for the first time in the country, wherein for the K-12 segment from class 6 to 12, we created a youth ideathon festival, wherein we got 60,000 plus ideas. We partnered with CBSC and we gave prizes worth more than 15 lakh. And these are the pictures. On the right side, you have the top 10 winners which were there. It was culminated in IIT Delhi because we wanted to again, go to the temple of learning, and we gave prizes. On the left side, you see the top 3 winners. We had Dakshyani Pandey from Sitapur. We had the young boys and girls from almost 5,000 plus schools which were there, and we gave awards to students, to the colleges, sorry, schools, and the teachers also. So in these 3 verticals, that is the schools, the higher education, and general, what is actually the requirement, and what Sector Skill Council, especially MEPSC, is doing is to have these Shark Tanks, Ideathons, Hackathons kind of business simulation competitions among the students, to inculcate that sense of entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial mindset, and to handhold them for these business models, whatever they come up with. For the higher education, in the colleges, we really have to establish the market linkages with the financial institution, get them to write their business proposal and write the project report, and start any small venture and try and take it to the next level. And at the larger level, we have to have the incubation centers where we teach them the business plan, how to do the investor pitch, how to create the first prototype, even give them a kit support and the financial support by way of grant or seed funding or loan or even debt funding, and to mentor and coach them, and do the backward and the forward market linkages by fundraising, the government policies, and get them the entire ecosystem built around them, so that at no point of time in their business journey they should be feeling left out and quit this business, this journey of being an entrepreneur. So as we say that entrepreneurship is not a 100-meter race, it's a marathon. So you should be ready, and that is what is required. We really have to train them from a very young age to a very later stage. Just a quick few slides on what MEPSC is all about. So on the all pictures which are there, that we are Sector Skill Councils. We were raised in 2015, promoted by All India Management Association. That's why the Management Sector Skill Councils was born. And we are the awarding body, like I mentioned, under the regulator. And Mr. Nerurkar, who was the previous Tata Steel MD, is my present chairman. My previous chairman was Mr. Sunilkant Manjal from Hero Group. So what we have achieved in last these 6 years is that we have a pool of 200 plus training partners. We have more than 800 schools in which we are training and skilling. We have 37 qualifications to begin with. We'll be adding maybe 5-7 more in the next month. Then we have a pool of 4,800 trainers, almost 800 plus master trainers, 17 SSS, and we have skilled and trained more than 5,15,000 candidates in last 6 years. These are few of the honors and award which Mr. Dhingra also mentioned about: the Scotch Award, the Skill Leadership Award, and the National Skills Excellence Award which was given, and the Scotch Awards for 2021. So this is my last slide, wherein what I'm trying to say, that it needs a concerted effort from all the stakeholders and especially the students to make this program, that Skill India Mission, a successful program. And since this is a PPP model, it's a very important that we have to enhance and develop their skills through a short-term vocational and the skill trainings to reach to a larger audience and reap the demographic dividend, and to make it very, very useful, not only for the country, for our own lives and for our own family. So all these policies which Government of India comes up, like Make in India, Startup, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Vocal for Local, all that is actually the booster charges for to keep it going and to really make India the skill capital of the world. Thank you. Here I finish. Dhanyavad.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. What a wonderful presentation, and I think we got to learn so much more about MPSC and the skill development program. As I was speaking to you earlier that day, the idea of bankable talk session is that things we don't know, we don't know, and that's how we become more learned, and we can obviously take these learnings and take it to the next level. So I think so much to learn. I'll just start with my question, and then everybody can participate and contribute in that. So when you said we all need to collaborate and being part of the industry, as you have seen, bankers come from different backgrounds, small, medium business owners, large entrepreneurs as well. How can we collaborate and create more opportunities, for our next generation? And of course, our staffs also, our teammates also, wherein we want them to be upskilled, take them to the next level. So how can we collaborate on that?
Sure. So first and foremost, it's a very nice question, because that should be the end result of any such interaction and any such presentation. So you all, being the industry, being the employers, you can be part of it. You can probably be open to hire apprentices. You should be open to collaborate with each other, to even support our youth for their entrepreneurial journey. You can also be part of even getting your own staff, getting them upskilled or reskilled. Like I mentioned, the domain skill everybody has got. It is actually the employability skills, the life skills, the communication skills, the business skills, which are more important, which assume more significance. Because when you everybody is alone is a very good worker, but the crux lies for any organization, especially in a MSME sector. You really have to have a very good team support. You have to be very effective. You have to be very efficient. You have to be very productive. So that productivity, that team, working in a team to support each other, to solve the complex problems, or even have a good communication skill, is very, very important. So even amongst your own staff, you may go in for a short term, employability skills or communication skills or team building skills kind of a program, apart from hiring apprentices in each of your organizations.
Okay. And in case, sir, we want to participate in terms of sharing more about our industry, what we have been doing. So how exactly to reach out?
Yeah. So what I'll do is, through you and Ayushi, I'll share my email ID and the email ID of my team members, my head of the department. We have a very lean team team which is there. We are just 22 of us. Dr. Nina has been coming and interacting with my team. In fact, Dr. Nina is the one whom I thanked in the beginning also, that she introduced me to BANC. And so we are working on together for early year educator, in which she is a champion and a leader. So we are working out something for the early year educator, for the play school teachers and the students, what to do and how to do it. So she's working out a program, because having led her own school and her own venture for almost 18 plus years, which was named after her son, Anubhav. So those kind of programs which we can also do for amongst all around us, so we can connect each other, like you are doing in your this banker group also.